Let's take a look back at 2019 and the gun websites projects. We started out the year with the same goals we always have: to unite our Second Amendment media, to encourage and facilitate as much gun-related content online as possible, both ourselves and helping others. So we started out the year scheduling some interviews. Without getting too bleak at the beginning of the video here, it wasn't a given that we were going to be around this year. I want to take a moment and thank Yankee and the supporters of the Yankee Marshal who efforted at the beginning of the year in January to not only get us to SHOT Show, but they really got us through the beginning of this year. It wasn't a given that we'd even be here this year, and it was their efforts and our Patreons that have kept us here and motivated to continue doing what we're doing. So we got to SHOT Show as our 14th year. We had 11 people from gun channels at SHOT Show. It was a bunch of people's second or even fifth time at the show. So I think everyone had a great time, as well as having a very effective show. Gunstreamer was there and had a great show. It was Puppy's first year. It was just a good beginning of the year, a good start to the year. I came back in February and continued on with the interviews, attempting to try to do an interview each night. There's definitely more than 300 Second Amendment advocates out there still kicking, and attempted that as long as possible. It's actually quite a bit of effort to do an interview every single night, but we're going to attempt it again here going forward. Arizona had the first of, turns out to be annual. They'll do another one, 2A rally. There was a small rally with about 300 people that showed up, and I guess it was the first of many. We'll go back up and do that again in February. They're already promoting it for this year. You can see we were doing some cartooning, both to help give some resource to the members of the gun channels community and others that are doing Second Amendment content, but also just to exercise skills, and those were done during 2A workshops. So to create a time, a place that people could join in and ask questions about 2A content creation of any kind. And that's where some of these cartoons and some of the drawings and stuff are the result of those 2A workshops. While we had only moderate interest and success with the 2A media workshops in 2019, I have had some interest expressed in keeping them going into 2020. So we'll definitely continue to do that between the beginning of the year and SHOT Show to capitalize as much as possible on the industry getting together. We try to send stuff out every few months or so to our Patreons, the people that basically subscribe to our projects and financially keep them going. And every other month or so, we try to send something out to say thanks. And you can see in the video a couple of results of that stuff that we've drawn or created and then sent out. So we had an opportunity, March, to go over to California and get a free robot. So this is the drive. Decided to drive past that. Oh, now I can't remember the name of it. We just drove past it. That crazy painted mountain in California. Went out to Malibu and then went up and grabbed this free robot. Pretty cool. We grabbed it though right at the beginning of the heat of the year, so it won't be till July or something that I actually get out there and get it set up time-wise and heat-wise. We don't have an air-conditioned place to put the robot. Again, you can see a lot of different cartoons and playing around throughout the year to encourage people on gun channels to have fun. So one of the other projects, again, to keep the Second Amendment community, the media, working together in different ways was the 2A patch batch. And the idea here was to bring a bunch of different Second Amendment focused organizations together and give them an opportunity to do a couple of things. First, get a resource for free, get these patches for nothing, so that they could learn either how to distribute them, sell them, offer them for trade, use them as incentives for some other kind of resource, but basically give Second Amendment focused organizations, what do we have, 10 or 12 of them, some resource. Additionally, it was an opportunity for us all to work together, to combine effort to market and promote the project and do it on a crowdfunding platform, and then give everyone access to the behind the scenes to see how it all works. I wish I could say it was a bigger success than it was. I mean, it was a financial success. We got the patches made, everyone got their patches, and I hope everyone made some kind of profit on them. It was all valid, good organizations, but there's lots of things that weren't perfect about it. But that's how we learn. We start things and we try them. Talking as we go through the Kalash patch batch was another effort to get some patches made for the store and to get them done in mass to try to get prices down. You can see here we finally got the robot going and started doing some projects there. Made probably about 3 or 4 trips down to Tombstone this year, which is weird because some years I don't even get down to Tombstone at all. Just happened to get to Tombstone quite a few times this year. Our cards are now available down in Tombstone. They're also available in Las Vegas, in Copper Star Gun Shop up in Camp Verde, Arizona. They've got them in Phoenix and California. So we've got them in quite a few states. Later in the year, they had a meeting. Well, not a meeting. They had a challenge to stop the gun shows here in Pima County. So we went over and attended the overwhelming support to keep gun shows. So that was great. Then we had the AmCon. This is the 3rd year of the, I don't know how they come up with AmCon, but the 2A Media Summit. The day before the Gun Rights Policy Conference, a bunch of people came out for the Gun Rights Policy Conference. Clover and Night Strike, Yankee all came down to experience the 2019 Gun Rights Policy Conference. I came out with Shooter's Almanac as a project right after the conference. I was hoping to get it created before the conference, but I was doing this parallel with other things, and I couldn't get it finished ahead of time. But got it finished just in time for them to announce the 2A rally in DC. So decided to go ahead and try to promote both projects simultaneously, and that was not a good idea. So the Almanac eventually failed as far as a crowdfunding project, which happens occasionally. And this, I guess, is a bunch of time. I was going to put a list of Patreons on the screen right now. Maybe I'll go back and still do that. I added them later. But that was why the robot was going to just draw on a pattern there for a little while. We did the Glocktober stuff this year. I headed out in October, kind of, again, splitting attention to promote the Almanac as well as the rally, as well as trying to raise funds to get to the rally. So using the sewing machine, which is about kicking on its last needles here, we took and turned some trash into treasure with those tabs and with some patches and stuff, and created enough product and sold it at the store to raise about 1/3 of the funds needed to get to DC. So headed up to the second big Sandy of the year. That happens twice a year. We headed up to the second one and went live with Ghost for this one. These are images from Ghost's live feed, but also use that as an excuse to get up to Vegas. So we went up the week before Red October, which was 2 weeks before the rally, and attempted to figure out how much my AK parts kits were worth and try to sell some of them. We weren't able to sell any, but we learned about Red October and found out it was pretty cool. So we ended up adding Red October to the tour, to the rally itinerary. Ended up selling some more stuff at the store. The help of that, well, that was pretty much all that and our Patreons. We ended up putting most of the gas on the credit card, a new credit card, and headed to DC. So we went up and experienced the Red October, which was an amazing event. I really do like the way that event happened. And then headed pretty much as fast as we could to DC. Got to the Capitol just a day or two before, enough time to rest for a moment before the rally started on Saturday, November 2nd, and had a chance to experience what was either the first or only to a rally that was not created by or for any organization and was simply a grassroots effort to see what would happen if a bunch of people gathered on the nation's capital to show our frustration at the gun situation. So we then went over to Tulsa, went up to Detroit, through Indiana, through Missouri, and then down to Tulsa. The week after the rally was the Wanamaker Gun Show, so I was able to attend the Wanamaker Show with 8, 9, 10 people, 12 people from gun channels. We didn't even have everybody in that picture, but we did get to have a barbecue. Everybody's having a great time, learning how to meet up and get together and accomplish stuff for the show. It's just, gun channels is awesome. Headed to the 3 different NRA museums. So this isn't any kind of order right here. We visited the Virginia Museum there with the range underneath. This one is the Bass Pro Museum in Springfield, Missouri, which I'd never been to before. It's amazing. Really cool museum and a neat Bass Pro. And then another visit to the Whittington Center in New Mexico. So in this trip, going out to the rally, was able to hit all 3 of the NRA museums, one of them for the first time. Also hit Dragon Man's last tour of 2019. I thought that was pretty cool. It was actually quite a run. I had to go about 17, I had to go 10 hours and 17 hours, or 10 hours of driving and 17 hours or something like that. It was pretty rough after a month worth of driving to drag up to Dragon Man's, but totally worth it. Went up to Denver and hung out with Honda. Came back to Tucson, finished up the Black Friday, bunch of sales. Thanks to everyone who purchased stuff at the Gear website store. Put a computer on credit and now working on that new computer. So this is a new video using the big fancy monitor you saw there. Give us some feedback if it's worth this. This took literally 2 days worth of editing. I'm looking for some feedback on the video itself. And then wrapping up the year, doing some prep for SHOT Show. We've got 12 people going to SHOT Show from gun channels this year, or in 2020. The dog might be sleeping, but the rest of us are just getting ready for what's coming in 2020. So I'm really looking forward to it. Looking back, though, on 2019, even though I didn't plan to travel, we ended up traveling 12,000 miles, 43 days on the road through 19 states, 21 gun shops, and 9 firearms museums. That was on 7 different legs of the tour. And that's what we do. We try to find our Second Amendment and put it online. We can't and don't accomplish that alone. Let me introduce you to the people that make our projects possible. This is our pit crew. These are the people that keep our van in the driveway and on the road. Thanks, guys. We have an ammunition level equivalent of a box of ammo each month. Let me introduce you to our box of ammo crew. Thank you. These are the people that each month, since we've been doing this pretty much, have been keeping the servers online and the bills paid. We have a bacon pancakes level. This is the chocolate chip and bacon pancakes team. Thank you and all the rest of our Patreon supporters. Over 200 people throwing in to keep our projects online and growing. Looking forward to a great 2020. Let us know in the comments what you think. As always, thank you for watching.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.